Hey, what's up? This is Fred. Wanted to bring a video. I know it's been a long time since I've been on here, but I felt it in my heart just to kind of make a video to tell you what I've been thinking over the past few months. Um, as you guys know, I've been in this credit repair industry for a long time, a little over 22 years now. And I just noticed a lot of things amongst all of my clients that kind of get in the way of what the ultimate goal is, right? Because people come to me and they say, hey, I need help fixing my credit, right? And, I like to get a better understanding of what you guys are going through. Why are you looking at trying to fix your credit? There's an underlying reason why, and I need to know what that is, right? So I can get to the root of the problem, right? A lot of times people come to me and they say, hey, I want to get a car, I want to buy a house, they want to do all these things, but they don't have a plan in place. And that's kind of what I've been working on in my company is to try to address the overall issue, right? What are your goals and what do you need to do to get you there, right? So that's what I wanted to talk to in this video with you guys. I wanted to kind of go over those things with you so that way you could kind of get a feel and get a grasp of what it is that I want to do, what I'm trying to do for you, and how I'm going to try to help you get there, right? Because you heard the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. That's kind of the situation I find myself in all the time, where a client comes to me and they say, hey, I want to buy a house in the next 3 to 6 months, right? Which is cool, right? But if you don't have the blueprint on what you need to do to get there, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. You have these goals and aspirations, but without a roadmap, you don't really know what you need to do, right? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take a step back, right? I haven't really been taking any clients lately, right? And the reason being is because I want to make sure that if a client's coming to me, they're going to be properly serviced. And what does properly serviced mean? Um, as you know, I've been putting videos out, I've been talking to people, I've been communicating that there's an underlying root issue when it comes to people who need credit repair, right? And that underlying root is their budget. Their budget's not in place, and without having a proper budget put in place, you guys will never get to where you want to go, right? And the reason why I know I could say this to you and I could say it confidently is because I know, because I've been there, right? I've done the things like I want to go buy a house, I want to go buy a car, and I want to do it now, right? But I never really properly budgeted for it, right? I'd say probably 65% of my clients that come to our program, the reason why they come to us is because they want to buy a new car. A lot of times, right when they start the program, we may do a little bit of stuff to address certain issues, but the overall issue isn't completed, right? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take a step back. I've been limiting the amount of people that we're allowing into the program because we want to make sure that you're going to focus on what needs to be focused on, right? If you're coming to me because you want to buy a car, great. We're going to put you into a program um, to help address that issue and what a car payment actually looks like. Because a lot of times people come to me and they say, well, they want to buy a car, right? Well, what does that look like to you? When you go to the dealership, how does that experience look like to you? Are you going to a big Toyota, Honda, whatever dealership, or are you going to a mom and pop shop, right? Because these things matter. You go to the buy here, pay here. I could already tell you that they're going to probably stick you with 17% or more on the interest rates, right? Usually it's typically closer to 30%, right? And I hate to see when my clients go through these issues because, like I said, I was you once, right? I've dealt with all these issues, not only with myself, but hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of the clients going through the same type of thing, right? So I wanted to try to address these issues with you, and kind of explain why we've been limiting our intake on new clients, right? And I kind of touched on it, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of expound on it now. The reason why we're limiting is because we want to make sure that you're going to follow the blueprint that we have set forth for you, right? If you're not able to afford the service, we don't want to come in here and take your money, because in the long run you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. Yeah, I know there's companies that's going to take your money. You know, we would love to take your money, but we also want to provide um, the service to you that you came to us for. So, for example, like I said, about 65% of our clients, they come to us because they want to buy a car, right? And when it when you want to buy a car, I'll always ask, okay, so you want to buy a car, what does that look like to you, right? How much do you have for a down payment? How long are you going to finance? What type of rate have you looked into, right? Because I want to know these things. If you go to the dealership is going to pull your credit report. Then they're going to shotgun your credit report to different lenders to see who's going to be able to accept you and pay them the most, right? Because I'll be honest with you, going to a dealership, the dealership doesn't only get paid based on what you're paying for the vehicle. They get paid when you go to finance. That's why you'd seem a different person. They have it marked, quote unquote, as this is the finance person who's going to walk you through all the financing. But as you know, when you go to this person, they're going to try to upsell you on all kinds of things. They're going to try to upsell you on the paint stuff. They're going to want to upsell you on extended warranty. They're going to want to sell you stuff for your tires and your rims to make sure none of that goes bad. They're going to upsell you on the gap insurance, right? So there's a lot of things that come into play here. And if you don't really know what the numbers look like, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot, all right? So let me kind of break it down to you so you can kind of get a grasp of what this looks like and kind of how it works. So that way you'll have a little bit of better understanding, right? When you go to a dealership, they're going to come out with a piece of paper. It's going to be in 4 quadrants, right? They want to know what your down payment is, right? How many months you want. They're going to find out what the interest rate is and what you could afford monthly, right? And do you have a trade-in? These are the things they're going to ask, right? And I always tell my clients, don't give them no numbers. Just tell them you want to know what the interest rate is. That's all that's concerned, because once you find the interest rate, then you can calculate what your monthly payment's going to be, right? So never tell them what you can afford monthly, because they're going to always overshoot that amount by 10, 15 bucks a month, right? So if you tell them I can afford 450, they're going to have you around 462-ish, maybe 471, 473, something like that, right? I've seen it too many times. I've gone with people to help them shop for cars. I've gone negotiating. There's a lot of things that I've done in these times. Right now, there's a lot of things that are kind of iffy with the chip shortage. You got to find dealerships that aren't charging that astronomical markup, right? Case in point, I went to the Lincoln dealership 2 weeks ago. Their markup was $10,000. What's the $10,000 markup for? Because they can't get vehicles to sell, so they want to upsell just a markup because they can't get the vehicles. It's not our fault, right? So why do we have to pay for all these other people due to the chip shortage? Yeah, I know it's supply and demand and things like that, but always do your research before you buy, right? Before you go to the dealership, see what the prices are going for. Make sure you see what the average in your area is going for that type of vehicle, for the type of things that you want on there, right? So that way you have a starting point. Second off, you want to see who's charging the markup and who's not, right? I know for a fact right now, and this is from doing my market research, right? BMW, Acura, and Lexus. And I saw a Toyota dealership that are not charging the markup fees, right? But then you can go to certain dealerships and they still got the markup, right? I gone to the Jeep dealership. They had a $20,000 markup, a $10,000, $8,000. Everything was marked up, right? There was a Demon Charger, right? $100,000 markup. I don't know who would pay $170,000 for a Charger, but there it was on the lot in the showroom, right on the floor. And yeah, it was a nice car, but it wasn't that nice. Not for $100,000 over the MSRP, right? Sorry about that. I had to get some of this pumpkin drink that I made. Anyways, back to it, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing your research, right? Now, when you say you can afford this amount of money, case in point, we're going to say 450, right? You can afford 450 a month. Well, you also have to take into consideration if your max is 450, what about everything else that comes along with that car payment? Things like gas, right? You're going to have to pay for maintenance. You're going to have to pay for car washes. You're going to have to pay for insurance, right? There's all these extra things that you have to pay for, right? Even if you wash your own car at home, right? Because people they don't include this stuff, right? But it's part of owning a vehicle. Who's going to drive down in the car they haven't washed it in 2 years, right? You don't see that. I mean, I've seen cars pretty dirty, and it looks like it hasn't been driven in a couple of years. But you always want to account for things that you didn't necessarily think that you would have to account for, right? And then you want to see if there's any other types of discounts that you could get when you're going to buy the vehicle. Do they have a Costco discount? Do they have any other type of discounts? Graduation. I just graduated. Do you have anything for first responders? Things like that. You always want to do your research, do your market research, Google, find out everything and anything you can about the vehicle that you're looking for. Do you need that vehicle, right? Go over the wants and needs. What do you want when you're looking for a vehicle? Are you buying used versus new? All of these things have things that you need to consider, right? If you're buying a used vehicle, is it certified or not? Did you know that if the vehicle is certified, you can still qualify for a better rate, right? A lot of people don't know this, right? And if you're, say for instance, you're going to buy a used car, right? One is certified, one is not. I was able to go with one of my clients a couple years back. We went to the Honda dealership. She was looking at an Accord. It was I think this one was 4 years old that she was looking at. It was one price. The next one was like 2 years old. It had all the bells and whistles. It was certified. The payment was like $20 more, but it was more of a bang for her buck, right? She was able to get a car that was much newer, drove much smoother, had every single option available in the vehicle when the other one didn't have much. So there's a lot of things you have to do your research on, right? If you're looking at trying to buy a vehicle, shoot me a message. My email address is fred@approvemyscore.com, right? Shoot me an email. Let's have some type of dialogue. Let me try to help guide you, right? I want to try to help guide you to get you to understand the types of things that you're looking for, right? If you're looking at trying to buy a vehicle, I want to help you get there, right? My clients, when they come to me and they say, hey, I'm looking at trying to buy a vehicle, first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to send you our guidelines, right? What that looks like. Not guidelines, but it's like a book, some study material. Yes, you're going to have to study, right? Being with me, if you want to take your finances to the next level, I want you to understand what a proper budget looks like, right? How do you get out of the situation that you put yourself in, right? Because we've all gotten ourselves into these things. You're not the only one. I've done it time and time again, right? Heck, when I ask people, do you have an emergency fund put together, right? People ask me, what is that? What is an emergency fund, right? And these are the types of things that we need to look at, right? I could tell you from personal experience, I had a Corvette, right? I was driving the car, I had the car for like 2 or 3 weeks at this point. I hit a nail, had a flat tire. At the time, I had the Corvette on Turo, right? So I was leveraging my credit to help earn money, drive a brand new vehicle, not only a brand new vehicle, but a dream car, right? And I hit a nail. Well, I had a renter the next morning, right? So I had to get that tire fixed. So when I took it to the dealership, when I took it to the tire store, they told me that I hit the sidewall. And I don't know if you know this or not, but if you hit something on the sidewall, the tire automatically has to be replaced. They can't patch it, right? So I had to get a new tire, $700 and something, right? For one tire. How many people would be able to just go ahead and pay for that tire, right? Not many, right? People don't have an emergency fund put in place. And these are the types of things that I want to help build you on, right? Help you understand that if you start now, it's just going to be better off for you in the future, right? Um, there's just so much that I want to talk to you guys about, so much I want to do for you, but like I said, I can't do everything for everybody. I can only work with the people who really want to be worked with, right? And what do I mean when I say that? Like, am I turning people down? Not, yes, I am, but not because I want to. It's because one, I don't want to take advantage, right? I don't want to take advantage of you and your financial situation, because people come to me and they say, I want my credit fixed, I want this, I want that. I can't make any promises. Anybody who makes you a promise of what they can do for your credit, you should be very leery um, about that, right? Because nobody can make promises to you in regards to what they can do for your credit, right? It's just like me saying, I could promise that you won't go drive today, and you're not going to break any laws when you drive. You're not going to have any driving infractions, right? I could tell you that you're not going to do a Hollywood stop. In my case, I'd probably say, yeah, you're gonna do a Hollywood stop. You're gonna go over the speed limit. You might not give a pedestrian the right of way. There's all of these things, right? And that's what I'm trying to help you understand. I want to get you to where you need to go, but I need you to walk with me, right? Walk with me, right? Let's walk and talk together, right? Let's learn this stuff together, because not only am I trying to live by what I preach and what I teach, I want to really get that word out to you, right? Because there's too many times that I see people just in a situation where their credit's not in the right place, right? And one of my biggest pet peeves is to see these banks taking advantage of you, right? I see so many people going to get cars, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if your interest rate is over 6%, you need to talk to me. We need to talk. We need to go over some things, right? Even if I just give you information, right? Because I can give you free information. You don't have to be with me. I just want to be able to give that info to you, right? And I want to give it to you for free. I don't want to charge you. I don't want to kudos or anything like that. The only thing I want to do is I want to give you something of value, so that way you can put that into work in your life, right? So that way you can get some things, right? I can teach you our credit building blueprint, right? That's not something that you have to pay for. You don't have to pay for our blueprint, right? I'll tell you, okay, go to this company and apply for a credit card, right? Pay the credit card, keep the balance under 10%. Put something small on it, like, I don't know, like Netflix or something like that, and only that. Don't overuse the card, don't spend it on anything else, and just have automatic bill pay every month. Pay it off, right? Pay it off 10 days before the payment is due, every single month. You're going to start building, right? This is what building means. Credit building blueprint is specific places that I know people with horrible credit can get credit cards. Is it, do you have to put money up? Yes, you do, right? $200 minimum, right? That's why I say don't spend over $20, right? Netflix is about that amount. So go ahead and put your Netflix, your Hulu, just one account, pay it off 10 days prior to the due date. This is going to help boost your credit, right? If you need my blueprint, just give me a holler, send me that email. Fred at ApproveMyScore.com. Fred at ApproveMyScore.com. What else? What else did I want to talk about? I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to do. I just wanted to kind of go over some things with you guys. A lot of people have been hitting me up trying to get started. But when I'm going through my questions and trying to find out exactly where you are, where those people are at that I've spoken with, they're just not in a place that's going to benefit them, right? If you don't have enough money coming in, I don't want to be the one to take it all, right? I want to be the one to say, okay, before we get started, why don't we start working on these things first, right? And then come back to me next month and let me know how it's worked for you, right? I want to see some effort on your part, right? Because the difference between me and every single credit repair company out there that I'm aware of, and I know a lot of them, but the difference between us and what differentiates me from them is, one, I'm going to go the extra mile, right? But hey, everybody goes the extra mile. But two, and this is the most important part, If you're not addressing that common root problem, which is your budget, and if that budget isn't in order, if that budget isn't in order and they're not telling you anything about that and showing you how to do it and giving you documents to kind of show you how to work around that, you need to go the other way, right? I'm here, right? I'm here. Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. I started maybe a year and a half ago thinking of ways that I'm going to switch out my business, right? And has our company fell because of what I want to do? It has, right? We've lost, I'd say, probably 70% of our clientele, right? Because of the fact that I want you guys to win, right? And you're never going to win unless you do the things that need to be done, right? You have to get your budget in order. If your budget's not in order, then you're just going to fall into the same place. I have a lot of clients that go through the program. You know, we get them where they need to be. They get the credit cards, they get low rates, they have no spending. They just go on a spending sprees, right? Spending all kinds of money that they can't afford, right? And then they find themselves in the same situation. They start getting the late payments. Their scores start falling, but they spend up they max out all their credit cards. So then their credit score fell. All of these things work in conjunction with each other, right? There's 5 sections of a credit report: payment history and credit utilization. Those are the 2 main things that count for 65% of your credit score. So if you're getting late payments and you're maxed out on your credit cards, you're losing that much, right? There's 550 point spread. You can have a credit score of 300 to 850. 300 on the low end, 850 on the high end. That's 550 points. So if you take 65% of that, you're dealing with almost 300 points, right? Probably, I think it's a little bit more. I'm not here to do the math. It's 182 and a half plus another 165. So it's like 345 points, something like that. That's a lot of points, right? So when people come to me and they say, well, I got some collections, but they're not that much money. You can have a collection for 1 penny and it can affect you by over 100 points. I've seen things like this happen in the days when Blockbuster was around, and I'm not sure if a lot of you guys remember Blockbuster. They used to rent out VHS tapes, right? So that's how long ago that was, like 20 something years ago, right? But they would send those accounts for like $7 for the late fees. They would send those to collections, and I would see them all the time, right? So there's things that you guys need to learn and to start to implement, right? Before we can start working together, right? And the reason being is I want to see, what your spending habits are. I want you to see what you're spending. I don't care what your spending habits are. I just want you to get them in check, right? Because if you don't get your spending habits in check, things are never going to work in your favor. And that's what I'm here to do, is try to help you guys understand. And until you actually do it and start implementing the change, it will never happen, right? Like I said before, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I could tell you everything you need to know, but until you start to do it, things ain't going to happen for you, all right? And I'm just keeping it real with you. I'm being honest with you, because sometimes, I can tell you what you want to hear, but I think you'd appreciate it more if I told you what you need to hear, right? I know it hurts, right? They say the truth hurts, and that's where I'm coming. I'm coming from a place of love, but I just kind of want to show you guys, like, this is what it is, right? You got to get that budget in order. If I ask you, okay, how much money do you bring in a month? Okay, and how much are your expenses a month? And if you could tell me, on average, my expenses are about $1,257. My rent is this. It all adds up to this with all my car payment and insurance and all that. It adds up to $3,557, right? And I bring in $5,000. Okay, is that $5,000 before or after taxes? Like, what's your take-home pay, right? I don't want net. I want gross, right? I want to know what it is after everything is taken out of your paycheck, because that's the numbers that we're looking for. We want to make sure that you have something extra, right? Because if you're working in deficit, how could you pay for a service or credit repair That's just going to put you more and more behind, right? So this is what I wanted to do. This is what was on my mind today, right? I I'm I'm telling you, I constantly think about you guys. I hate that I turn people away, right? I hate that, us as a company that we're losing money. But I think at the end of the day, I think it shows who we are as a company, who I am as an individual. That I'm not here to take your money. I'm here to earn your money, right? And the way I'm going to earn your money is to give you the best information that I know how to, right? I want to make sure that I'm able to give you what you need to know, right? I don't care what people say on the internet. Yeah, you found me. This is on the internet, right? But you can call Lexington Law tomorrow, right? Call them and ask them, right? Ask them what they do to do these different things for you. Ask them if they're going to hold your hand, right? Because I can promise you, well, not no more, but I used to have probably about 20, 30 people a month that would switch from Lexington over to our services, right? Um, I'm not going to say that they're no good. All I can say is I've seen the way they work, and I've seen the way they make you pick your dispute reason, right? We're gonna find out about the account. We don't care if you went delinquent on it. The only thing that matters to us is, are they reporting this accurately as required by the Fair Credit Reporting Act, right? We're going to use the laws. Like, did you make a late payment? Yeah. Okay, cool. Right? It's not our job to talk down to you because you missed a payment. Hey, we all make mistakes, right? Are we supposed to ridicule you for that? No, right? We're going to tell you, okay, this is what we would do in your situation. We make sure that all of your payments are set up on automatic bill pay, either through your bank or through the credit card issuer or whoever the company is, whether it's like your electricity or your water bill, garbage bill, whatever the case is. We just want to make sure that you have everything set up on automatic bill pay, right? Make sure that it's scheduled to be paid when you have the money in the account, right? We don't want you going delinquent, right? We want to make sure that you have everything written down, right? How much do you owe? Do you have collections? Do you have credit cards? What type of interest rates do you have? We want to know all these things because all of these things play a bigger part when it comes to your finances. And that's what we're here to address. We want to know what you know, but we want to know what you don't know. So that way we can say, hey, based on the things that you've told us that you know, and based on the things that we know that you don't know because you didn't tell us about it, let's go ahead and bridge that gap. Let's go ahead and bring it closer together. Let's go ahead and help you understand what all this stuff means. Let's go ahead and put together some type of savings plan where you can start with your savings for your emergency account, your emergency fund. Because we like to see somebody with at least $1,000 in their emergency fund. That way, if the tire, in my case, that the tire was 700 something bucks, if that so happened to come towards you, like, hey, I ran over a bed of nails and got 4 flats and it's $600 for new tires. You take it from your $1,000 emergency fund, right? And now you just start working to repay your emergency fund to get it back to the 1,000. That 1,000 is there and meant to be there and remain there for emergencies only because they're always going to come up, right? You're never going to get around them. They always come up. I don't know why. They just do. And when you don't have it, it's the worst times, right? So, long-winded, I'm just here talking, but I want to make sure that I talked about something that was going to be beneficial for you. I want to make sure that I gave you something of value. If it is something that you value, if you were able to make it this far, leave a note in the comments, right? Let me know what you think of the video. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Let me know if you want me to talk about something. Like I said, I've been doing this for 22 years, right? But I've also been trying to adapt, right? Trying to adapt to the changes that I think need to be made in this industry. So with that being said, I just want to thank you for your time, man. And if you get a chance, give me a thumbs up if you thought the information was useful. And if you, like I said, if you want any other information, leave a comment below. Talk soon.